Welcome to Man 360. I'm your host, Brian. On today's program, I interview a wonderful Bible teacher and spiritual pioneer in the church world, Andrew Wommack. Andrew shared about his worldwide ministry that reaches every continent around the globe and his passion for teaching the gospel to anyone who will listen. I know you'll be blessed and encouraged by what he has to share. We'll also take a quick trip to Las Vegas, Nevada to share about some fun family activities inside the city, something just outside the city, and then a trip to Grand Canyon's west entrance where my wife and I walked over the world-famous Skywalk glass bridge that hangs over the canyon. Then we go back outdoors with my good friend Aaron to talk about water purification systems when hiking or in emergency situations. We'll go over the different types of systems and what they're each best used for. I'm glad you're here. Let's get started. Welcome to Man 360. Andrew Wommack was saved at the age of 8 years old, but it wasn't until after high school where he experienced a life-altering sense of God's love. Shortly after this time, he was drafted and went to Vietnam, where God used that experience to firmly ground Andrew in the Word of God and give him an amazing love for the Bible and seeing lives changed. He shared a couple of life lessons about when he was first married and then a time when God revealed an important truth that caused a paradigm shift in his thinking that changed the trajectory of his entire ministry. Andrew is one of the most down-to-earth people you'll ever meet, and I enjoyed our conversation. We appreciate his relationship with CTN and are blessed to play his weekly teachings, Gospel Truth. Here's my interview with Bible teacher Andrew Wommack. So Andrew, thank you for being on Man 360.
You're welcome.
And I just appreciate your partnership and Andrew Wommack Ministries and what you do with Charis Bible and CTN. We just appreciate like-mindedness and the same heart. And I wanted you to share a little bit about kind of the highlights and maybe some of the things that you do here as a ministry. I know that people may know the Bible College, they may know Andrew Wommack if you go and speak somewhere, but you mentioned many times you're on all different continents and the world side, so can you share a little bit about what you do?
Well, we're on TV is what our ministry, well actually it started on radio. I was on radio for 25 years, and then we started on television. And when I got on television, we now cover about 3.2 billion people on the planet with our programs. So we have a television ministry, but then we also have the Bible College.
Yep.
And the Bible College, we have the main campus here in Colorado, and then we have 70 different campuses located
70.
worldwide.
Wow.
So altogether, we reach about 8,000 people or so under our umbrella right now, and probably 8,000 to 9,000 graduates that we've had.
That's awesome.
And so we've built this facility here, and we have 493 acres here in Woodland Park.
Is that how big this is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. That's
and
awesome.
we've built, this building that we're in is a 150,000 square
Mm-hmm.
foot building. We got a 72,000 square foot building over there, and then a 336,000 square foot parking garage, and then our offices are across the road over here, and they're in a 60,000 square foot building.
Wow.
So eventually we're going to have a campus here that I believe is going to be like a university. It'll have athletic stuff and a student activity center and
That's
housing
awesome.
for the students and all those things.
I think you need to think a little bigger. I think that's kind of a small...
Well,
man, I mean, if only God could just push you a little more, dream a little bigger.
And did you know that 7 years ago on this spot, there was nothing?
Wow.
And we've had $120 million worth of buildings that we built in 7 years.
That is God.
It is.
Absolutely. So what would you say are some things that you enjoy about the ministry? Everybody always talks about the stresses and the pulls of ministry and having such a large reach and, again, worldwide ministry. What are some things that you enjoy about what you do?
Well, I enjoy seeing people's lives change. That's what it's all about to me.
Absolutely.
And so there's been times, like we had, because of these Bible schools on every continent on the planet, there was one day we had problems on 4 continents in one day. And I walked into my people and I said, you know what, I think I'm going to be like a turtle and just pull my head inside the shell and forget all of this stuff. And one of my guys that work for me, he says, you got to keep your eyes on the fruit and the lives that are changed and not the effort that it takes to get it done. So that's what we really try and do, is just focus on the people's lives that are being changed. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and I appreciate you, when I've heard you speak or you talk, and, there's always such a genuineness I really feel with, hey, let's just see people's lives change. Whatever it takes, whatever we need to do. And I feel like some of that, too, just comes from that heart
of some of the things that you've been through and some of the things that you've experienced. I know you've been in the military. If people know your testimony a little bit. And as we were talking before we came on air here, that there's importance of thinking about what do you learn in transition in your life. I think there's transitions and things that happen. I know when you get married, obviously when you went into the military, when you came out, when you went into ministry, and even the future things that God has for you. You said that your age, and it's like God still has things. So what do you feel like you've learned going through those transitions?
They can go to my website and hear about 1,000 hours worth of teaching on what I've learned. But I'd say two big things. When I got started in ministry, I had a wrong concept that I was supposed to be living full-time of the gospel. And that's true eventually. But when you're just starting and nobody was coming, I should have been working a job, but I thought I was sinning against God if I went and worked and got a job.
Wow.
So when Jamie and I got married, I had $5,000 cash. I turned it all into $100 bills, and I went to a 7-Eleven store and gave them all out in one day, just to people I'd never seen. I couldn't wait to get out on faith. That was one of the dumbest things I have ever done in my life. And for about 6 years, Jamie and I struggled. She was 8 months pregnant, and we went 2 weeks with no food. I mean, nothing but water.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things I've learned. I tell people, don't do that. Learn at my expense.
Yeah.
And then another thing that really, probably the second most important encounter with the Lord that I've ever had was January 31st, 2002. And the Lord spoke to me and told me I was limiting Him by my small thinking.
Wow.
And that was from Psalm 78:41. And so, man, He challenged me to start thinking big.
Yeah.
And since that time, our income has gone up 20 or 30 times. Our outreach has increased. I mean, there is just no comparison.
Yeah.
There's no way to explain it except God. And I was limiting God by my small thinking. And I think that a lot of ministers, I think everybody does this.
Yeah.
That we have people telling us that you can't do this, and then your own failures, and then your own insecurities and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just constantly throttling you back. And to think big is an effort. It goes against the grain in this world.
Absolutely.
So those are two big things I've learned.
Yeah, I'm reading a book called Make Fear Bow right now. And it talks about how, when there's issues and things in our life where what we're projecting, what we're thinking, and the devil knows that when we break through, that first time we break through, that there's no stopping us the next time because we can trust and believe for even bigger things. And even as I was teasing you about the expanse of the ministry and everything you're doing here, it's so amazing how, again, that trusting and that faith in God and then allowing Him to fill in, that part of it too. So I think that's really important.
I got a book on imagination.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of what God's been showing me is that you have to conceive things in your imagination. Matter of fact, the Word, Isaiah chapter 26, verse 3, where it says, the Lord will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed upon Him. The Hebrew word yetzer that was translated mind, it literally means imagination. It was translated that a number of times. And the literal meaning of it is conception. Your imagination is where you conceive everything. And if you can't see it on the inside, you'll never see it on the outside.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, can you pray for our viewers as well? And I feel like, too, for men, sometimes I think they get lost in the stresses of life. And again, that small thinking, I feel like if the devil can keep us distracted, especially as men, that we can't really be able to dream and imagine and be able to see bigger things. Can you pray for that for our men?
Yes, sir. So, Father, I just thank you. I pray for all of the men that are watching this. And, Father, I know that just for, like Brian and me, it's not just us. It's every one of us. We have a potential. You have a purpose for our life. And I'm asking you for every person watching this that you would speak to them, that, Father, you would just plant a seed from something that we've said in their heart that would grow and that this would change them. I believe that, and so I just speak blessing over them. Thank you that you are expanding our belief so that we can take the limits off of you and reach our full potential. God. In the name of Jesus.
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Andrew, thanks again for being on the program.
Well, thank you.
We appreciate you. Appreciate your ministry.
I appreciate CTN. You guys have been really good to us.
We
You're
love
helping
you guys.
us reach a lot of people.
We love you guys, and anything we can do to help reach more people, that's what we're about too. So we feel that's awesome. So thank you
very much.
I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Andrew Wommack. You can go to man360.tv for links to his books and ministry. Let's head over to Las Vegas and see a few family-friendly things to do. So So what do 2 rolls of quarters and Las Vegas have to do with one another? Now, you may think it has to do with a casino, but it does not. We are actually here at the Pinball Hall of Fame in Las Vegas, Nevada. So this pinball arcade basically is 10,000 square feet. There's over 300 pinball games that we're going to go in there and play in just a little bit. And they're from the 50s through the 90s. It's a nonprofit organization that actually donates part of the profits after they do the operational expenses to nonprofits in town. And it's really about the games and about giving. So I think we're going to go in here, go have some fun, and let's see what this Pinball Hall of Fame is all about. Las Vegas is the 28th most populated city in the United States, with the name meaning the Meadows. It has more AAA 5-diamond hotels than anywhere else in the world, but it also has some fun things to do that you probably have never heard about. One is the Pinball Hall of Fame. So this is Robin Hood. This is actually the oldest pinball machine in the entire building. It is from 1948. They found a brand spanking new machine in this building. It is Jurassic Park. As you can see, it has the LED screen on it. It's got like about 3 layers or 3 levels of the pinball game, which is incredible because the other ones are only a single laminate piece of wood. The flippers are really small, and this is $1 for one play instead of $0.25, which is absolutely crazy. So it's a perfect example of our country right now and actually our economy. And it used to be $0.25, but now it's $1 for a play to play a pinball game. So as you can see, we had a lot of fun at the Pinball Hall of Fame. A lot of different games. They're actually going to be moving locations onto the Strip, next to where the Harley-Davidson dealer is in the south end of the Strip. They have a whole new building that they're either doing the end of this year or the beginning of 2021. We talked to one of the workers. He said they have over 1,300 pinball and video games, so it's going to be a huge pinball and video arcade for people to be able to use. And I love the fact, actually, in Las Vegas that you have a place that you can bring your kids. It's kid-friendly. You know, it's not like a seedy joint in some kind of way, and just a great time with the family. And again, all the proceeds and all the profits go to, besides the operational expenses, go to nonprofits in the area, which is awesome. And as you can see how terrible I am at pinball, all I was here to do was to donate to nonprofits and to play the worst games of pinball that I could ever play. It was terrible. So a lot of great memories. I played Star Wars game, I played Joust, some other ones. So if you're in the area in Las Vegas, again, the Pinball Hall of Fame, and again, it'll be moving to the Strip here at the end of this year or the early part of 2021. If you didn't know, the Grand Canyon is a little over 2 hours away from Vegas, so we decided to take a day trip to the Skywalk at Eagle Point, which is a horseshoe-shaped glass bridge that hangs out over the west end of the Grand Canyon that was commissioned and is owned by the Hualapai Indian tribe. The entire Skywalk structure weighs right around 1.6 million pounds and can sustain the weight of 70 fully loaded 747 passenger jets. The Grand Canyon is called Grand for a reason, and a wonderful day trip away from Las Vegas. There are also great hikes that can be accessed by shuttle, and they have wonderful lunch packages that you can purchase online. Another fun thing to do in Boulder City right outside of Las Vegas is the Rail Explorers USA. These are pedal-powered vehicles that ride on railroad tracks in a 4-seat or 2-seat configuration. The ride is 4 miles long and mostly downhill. It's a great getaway just minutes from downtown Las Vegas.
So I don't know where Yolanda finds this stuff on vacation, but we are on this metal pedal car in Las Vegas that's on a railroad trail. And Yolanda and Eileen are pedaling here in front of me. And it's pretty crazy. So yeah, it's in Boulder City, which is outside of Nevada, or Las Vegas, Nevada. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. So yeah, check this out. It's pretty fun. I'm not pedaling actually at all right now. I'm letting the girls pedal.
So welcome to another outdoor segment here on Man 360 with my buddy Aaron. You may notice him from previous episodes. Runs his YouTube channel, Gideon's Tactical. He's up to 750,000 views a month. Pretty crazy.
Sweet.
God has blessed him heavily.
Totally God.
So it's been great. So we want to talk today a little bit about water processing and water purification. We were talking, kind of reminiscing on all the trips we've taken. I remember the one that we were talking about, what was the easiest water purification, but one of the most satisfying hikes overall was Watauga Peak.
Yeah.
Right by a lake.
Where we had like a lake, and we had like a moose and her calf like go through in the morning. And you just had to
that's
go,
right. I remember that.
You just have to go down, like maybe 25 yards, and then you got this little pristine, probably, what do you think? Like maybe 500 square yards, something like that.
Probably, yeah.
Mountain alpine lake at like 10,000 feet, so it was like amazing.
And then we bushwhacked a 12,000 foot peak
the next day,
which was like, so, and the reason why I say that is, when you're going on hikes like that, and really when you're out really anywhere, unless you have a lake or you have like a stream or something like that, you're going to need to process water. Sometimes you'll bring, we pack in a lot of water. I always bring more water than I think I'm going to need.
Same with me. I try to not go overboard, but like definitely have reserves, and I drink a lot more water. And that's why some people, like my dad, he can go like 10 miles with like a Nalgene.
Yeah, he's a camel.
Yeah.
Mike Malone's a camel.
Yeah, a 32 ounce Nalgene. I'm like, I'm going to go through like 100 ounces. So,
right. Easy.
Yeah. And you got to think about like where your water location is. So like that one time that we camped outside of Vail, and we camped on this amazing like hillside, but the river creek was like 200 yards down a very aggressive steep incline. So you're like almost falling down the mountain to get to the water, and then you got to haul up.
Right.
Probably how many gallons did we process? Probably 5 gallons
Probably 5
of water.
gallons at a time.
You got to haul that up.
There's 4 guys.
Yeah. I mean, that was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. So I want to go through just a few different systems. We're going to actually have some information on the website as well on man360.tv, where to get some of these supplies, and also probably link through to Aaron's channel again, Gideon's Tactical, and because he always again does great reviews and kind of talks through it, and it actually has talked through almost all the things that we're talking about today at some point. So you can, if we're talking about them now, you can actually search them on his channel, and he goes a little more in depth. So right now we're just kind of going to do an overview, basically of a few things. So I really love, and I think Aaron and I both love Sawyer, the brand Sawyer.
Yeah.
Not really a shout out. Okay, they're not paying me to do this segment.
Yeah, we spent all of our money on
this.
Yeah,
on their stuff. They didn't give us any money.
Yeah.
But one of the things too is I love this water bottle that actually has the purification filter built into the bottle. So Aaron, can you talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, I mean, what this will do, and these are designed for like basically North America. They will filter out most bacteria, things like that. Some viruses, if I remember correctly, but there are certain things that they won't do, like heavy metals, and I think maybe it is viruses. There's one other thing that they won't do, so they're not great for like overseas traveling. That's where some other options that we're going to show you might be better. But for North America, particularly, probably most places in Europe, this would be a great option. And the cool thing about Sawyer is that they have some of the highest processing volume. This thing can do, I believe, 100,000 gallons in this one filter before you would have to replace it. So I mean, that's a lifetime of hiking and camping, honestly, as long as you take care of it and clean it out and do that type of stuff. Whereas there are others that we're going to look at that are like 250 gallons of processing, which is still a lot, and that'd be years of good processing. But that's what I love about that. And I'm sure why don't you tell us like why do you like this water bottle system? Because there's like this that you can screw on to like a bladder, and you have your dirty water and you filter that. But that can it can process more in one sitting than a water bottle can, but it's a little cumbersome. So why do you like the water bottle?
Yeah, I think the water bottle for me is that it's something else that I don't have to pack out additional when you're processing water. You already have the filter built in, and it's pretty simple too. As long as you keep, and you have to remember this, okay? The whole point of using a water filtration system is that you keep the dirty water separate from where you're drinking or those kind of things. And this is really, really simple. The reason why too I love this is you can just put this in the stream, get your water. You just put your filter in, you just screw this down, make sure and wipe off, all the river water or whatever that you're using. And it's like really simple. Just a standard water bottle kind of, size, like a Nalgene size of bottle. So it's not anything crazy, stupid, wide or tall. Fits in most backpacks, which is really great.
Yeah.
And I love this piece, but I wanted to bring up what Aaron,
the
speed of it is totally
great. Like day hiking and backpacking, but unless you're by yourself, you really need more to process.
Right. But I think too, this is the reason why I like this little filter. These are great. Again, from Sawyer. They make different variable sizes. This is a little smaller one. They actually make a little bit larger one. Is that you can actually put this in line, which I really, really like. They set up this system. So basically you can have this like an inline system where you can actually have the flow of a water bottle. If you're out processing, these really work better. I think we've learned this too with multiple people.
Yeah.
Where you can have this with another water bottle. And we'll show you a little bit of us getting in the stream and kind of processing the water, B-roll in this. But really being able to take care of, and it shows you the big arrow flow, so the water goes that way.
And the one dumb time I didn't follow that.
But also what they do is they give you a plunger with it as well, so you want to backwash it when you're not using it. Put a little bit of bleach water in it if you're going to store it long term. And also with Sawyer too, which I really like, is they give you multiple size of bladders as well that you can screw this right onto the bladder, put your dirty water in there, screw it onto whatever size bladder you want. And they already provide that, and then different price points depending on that too.
Sure. Yep.
So, is there anything else you want to say about this?
No, yeah, those are kind of the ones that we more gravitate to, and there's lots of options. So I mean, that doesn't mean that those are like the end all be all, but that's kind of the best for like value to performance that we've seen really to date. Then on the flip, like if you want to go like super compact and like really lightweight, are like aqua tablets, and there's lots of different brands, or iodine tablets. There's also what you can find to purify your water. And so, I mean, you can see how compact that is. That'll fit inside a little pocket, and you just have your normal Nalgene or whatever it is. And if you come across water and you need it, boom, just throw these tablets in there. Usually there's a little bit of a wait time, about 30 minutes that you have to wait. The iodine tablets tend to yellow out your water container, whatever it is. Iodine, obviously.
And you don't have to boil water with this, right?
Correct.
You just dump it in.
Literally just dump it in.
30 minutes and it's good.
And you're ready to rock and roll. And I believe you obviously have to read the back to confirm, like whichever version you're buying, how much it'll kill.
Right.
But I believe these will usually wipe out everything in the water, which is good. So you could use this basically around the world, depending again on the version that you get. Obviously read directions and don't just start popping that like sewage water. And
what Aaron's saying too is it's really important that you don't just buy something, and even if you have another filtration system, you think it's the same directions, because the directions for each of these are very specific to what you're using.
Yeah.
Like the iodine on your dad had like a UV pen that he was using.
Yep.
You can just stir which is crazy. It's just UV light that actually will
kill the
bacteria. He actually bought it, I think, for one of the trips. He's like, I bought this for one of the trips. And we're like,
it didn't really work.
Didn't really work that well. Really expensive. It didn't work very well. So.
Yeah, so that's what I like about these, is that they're super compact, and also most of these, because they are using a fiber and water's going into the fiber, it's it's very small, so it's pulling out all of the nasties, the bacteria, whatever it is. If you leave it and the temperature gets below freezing, it will destroy the filter and you can no longer use it. You have to throw it away and get another one, because it expands those fibers and then it doesn't do its job anymore, and it's useless. Whereas most of these tablets and iodine you can have like in a car, maybe a little survival kit or something like that, or if you're going to possibly temperatures are going to swing pretty deep, and it's maybe 50 during the day, but it could get below freezing at night. That's where tablets might be a better option than filtration systems.
Right. So why don't you go to the last piece here? These life straws. This is one example.
Yeah, let's open this bad boy up here.
There are a few different ones too. Aaron has used through the years that. I remember you had the one that was like an OD green one that was like kind of shorter.
Yeah, there's different brands.
Military ones too.
So
just talk a little bit.
Yeah. So this one. It will do the bacteria as well as all protozoa and different things like that. And it'll give you all the different things that it will do and filter out. And the difference, though, is that this is only going to do 260 liters, or excuse me, gallons of water, 1,000 liters. And obviously, you have to have a container, like a water bottle. So I would have to get my water bottle dirty, put this in here, drink out of it, or just stick it straight into the water, creek, lake, whatever, and drink out of that. The positive, though, is that you can filter out a lot of stuff that these Sawyers will not. So this would be a positive, particularly if you're going maybe overseas,
I was just gonna mention that.
third world, you're
Yep.
going on missions trips, you're doing, whatever, humanitarian aid, that type of stuff. That's
Missions
where
trips,
this-
Aaron snuck that in there. Huh? All right.
That's where this might be better. I don't usually prefer this for what we do hiking here in North
Right,
America,
right.
just because I then still have to have a separate bottle when we can do the Sawyer bottle, different things like that. And you have to get really down into the creek if you are going to drink, and sometimes that's not super, convenient, particularly if you got a full load out. So
Yeah. So again, these are just a few options. Again, there's some other great companies. I remember Nate brought up one of the water filtrations. I think it was the Watonga Peak one that we did. It had a crank on it,
Yep.
and it processed a lot of water at a time. But it's a 2-man kind of process, and it really just depends on how much weight you want to carry when you're hiking. If you're more of an ultralight hiker and you don't really like a lot of weight, depending on kind of what you want to do is what you're going to choose for your system. But we just wanted to give you just a few options, and also recognize obviously water is super important when you're hiking.
Yep.
We've talked about other different types of gear that are important, but obviously water is super important. So again, hopefully these just give you a few options and a few different things to consider. Check out Aaron's channel, Gideon's Tactical, and again, he goes into much more detail about each of these and also other gear that you may be interested in. So Aaron, I appreciate your help
Yeah,
today.
buddy. No
appreciate
problem.
you, and thank you for joining us today.
see ya.
Let's do our 360-degree overview from today's program. It was fun sitting down with Andrew Wommack and hearing about how he's reaching people all over the world with the Word of God. His passion to see people's lives change when they choose Jesus as their Lord is infectious and even challenged me when we were talking. I hope that the words he shared during his interview also challenged you to get a real revelation of God's immense love for you and then find practical ways to share Jesus with those around you. You don't have to be a world-famous Bible teacher to change the lives of people you come in contact with on a daily basis. You just need to be willing to share what God gives you. Andrew has many books that you'll find helpful, and we put those links on our man360.tv website under additional content for you to check out. Las Vegas has some wonderful out-of-the-box activities that the whole family can enjoy. We put links to all the activities we shared on our website for you to access and plan your vacation. I always encourage people to look beyond just the normal touristy things to do in a city when you travel. It can open up a whole new world of fun for you to experience. My outdoor segment with Aaron Malone was an important topic to discuss. Water processing is an important thing to consider with any extended journey out in the wilderness. Aaron has more great outdoor gear and practical tips on his YouTube site, Gideon's Tactical, and is always willing to answer questions from his followers on Facebook and Instagram. As always with this program, we want you to be complete in every way through Christ, spiritually, physically, and mentally. I hope you enjoyed our time together today. Please let me hear your thoughts or maybe ideas for future episodes on my website, Facebook, and Instagram, and we'll see you next week right here on Man 360.